first lesson for the day, for today, which is lesson 13. Now we are going to do to unpack customer experience. That's what you are going to be doing in this lesson. But before we do that, I'd like one of you guys to give us an overview of what we discussed in the previous study, in the previous lesson. Sorry, guys, I'm saying study because, you know, I do research all my life. If someone was to ask you, what is it that you did? How would you narrate to them?
We did what we call it, recap, we did about what we call it customer analysis, and then yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's hear someone. I hear many voices in the background. Who is speaking? Is it Toby or Kanye?
I would say we built tester, which is environmental, also the customer inside of an space. Just understand, okay, no customer, we call it customer experience.
Okay. So now with lesson 14, we are going to, at the end of this lesson, you need to identify the elements of an organization's digital marketing environment that have implications for developing a digital marketing strategy. And the focus will be on customer experience. And you also need to understand a buyer persona. In the assignment, actually, if you went through the brief, there's a question that talks about buyer persona. Did you guys have had time to peruse through the assignment yet, or you are just packing it for now?
We had time, so I thought that we have to do media marketing strategy, right?
I can't hear you, Kanye. You are actually whispering, or maybe my volume is down. Let me just. Okay, can you repeat what you said?
I'm saying there's a part we have to do the marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yes, I did go through the brief.
Okay, I didn't hear the last part. I actually need to look for my earphones. Maybe there's so much noise here.
Yes, I'm saying I went through the brief.
Tasson, can you hear Kanye?
No, I can't hear her, and I think maybe it's the system that is using. Maybe that's why it's not clear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you are saying, can you hear me now? I can hear, but it's very faint.
Oh, so I'm saying I did go through the brief because there's a part where I saw that we have to do a marketing strategy and also personas.
Okay, all right. I heard you now. You know, we are forcing you to shout at the end of the day. You end up even disturbing people who are in the house. I can imagine. Just bear with us. Okay, so these are the terms that you are going to come across, guys, as we proceed with this lesson. You are going to come across the concept of a persona and its relevance in digital marketing. You are going to come across a concept of conversion marketing. You actually have already come across that because we discussed it in the previous lesson. Demand analysis, situation analysis, multi-screen, online marketplace, we have already discussed that. All right, guys, when it comes to your mind, when someone says customer experience, what comes to your mind? So in general, what is customer experience?
how the
I
the
think
person.
customer.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. No, you can
Okay,
go
so
on, Tanya. I'll go on after you.
okay. So what comes to mind is that how the person received this, how they, yeah, how they received the favors, and also how they got to the last stage of conversion.
Okay. Let's hear Toby there.
I think for me, customer experience is basically experiencing the service that you get, the product that you use, basically everything that has to do with that brand or that company. And obviously, with the entire experience, it's then we will say that this is my experience with regard to whatever brand or service or product that I got.
Okay. All right. You both make sense. I'm just worried with what Toby is saying because she's using experience in the definition. So it ends up confused. Like customer experience is the experience that you get when what is experience? Like you are probing me to ask more. That's what I'm trying to say. I've heard people several times saying that talking from my experience. Do you sometimes say that, guys?
Yes, things that you want
Mm.
to
Yes, we do. We
Especially
do.
Mjolo part. You know what? Listen to my advice. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm talking from experience.
Experience.
So what is experience, guys? Let's leave customer out. Let's hear experience.
It's what you whatever you have gone through when you're doing something.
I know, guys, it's a very difficult definition. I know you know what you're talking about. But okay, Matlangwe said something there. Let's hear others. What is experience?
I say to you, it's what we've gone through
Mm-hmm. I want
when
to hear
you
Toby
doing
and
something.
Kanye.
Okay.
I
What
think
you go
experience
through?
but experience is being present, is being in the moment and feeling
I
and
love that. Being in the moment. I think you're telling me some other form of experience here, but okay, let's take that. Kanye, experience?
experience. I would say it's things that you have been exposed to and processes that you have passed through in life. Yeah.
Okay, I actually got, the best insights from you guys. Someone is talking about exposure, one. Someone is talking about being in the moment, two. What did you say, Tyson, again? I remembered it, but all of a sudden it slipped me. I actually put it in my thoughts.
Experience is something that you have gone through it, and
Or
then
something that you have gone through. Okay.
yes.
Something that you have gone through, something that you are in the moment. Is it what you said, Toby? Something that you're in the moment, like now, something like that. Then Kanye spoke about exposure. Okay, please keep in mind these terms because we're going to unpack them. All right, since you guys have mentioned this, do you think it is important? It is important at all to understand online customer experience. So, is it important to understand what customers have gone through online? Is it important to understand the exposure that customers are getting? Is it important to understand what customers are going through in the moment? Why is it important, guys?
I
Because
think we have. Sorry, sorry. Okay.
no,
I,
you can go
I,
first.
I, I think you have got to monitor how the customer behavior they behave on, especially online, so that at least you know exactly what to do, because you look at your website, how the customer behave on your website when they click whatsoever, whether they like it or what. And we were talking the previous we were talking about what we call it, the comments of when you buy a product and all those things. some of those things is what I can tell as a retailer or something else. You have to look at those things, how customers are behaving in a certain product. So if ever it's bad, you can improve it. Whether if it's not bad, and then you can do more on that product.
Okay. Can you were saying go first, go first? What is it that you wanted to say?
Oh, sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. It helps the the person providing the service to improve um what they had done wrong, and it also helps when you're now doing personas where you are collecting information of what the customer liked or what they buy. So yeah, basically that's it.
Okay. All right. We'll also get to that. Remember, this is just a discussion. So, is there any significance of understanding customer experience in digital marketing? Or it's actually a sales thing or a public relations thing? Is there any relevance to it in digital marketing?
Yes, there is,
I think so.
because it helps you identify the places or channels that your target audience or your market or your consumers are using.
Mm-hmm. And remember, digital marketing is all about promotion. And when you're promoting a product, you also need to understand what customers go through, right? You need to understand their journeys. Okay, we are going to talk about customer journey a lot. You need to understand their in the moment experience. Okay, their wow experience. You also need to understand what turns them off. That's why whenever we're in new relationships, we try by all means to give a picture of what we went through in previous relationships so that it can either happen again, or you tell the partner that, you know what, this other dark side I want to happen again. you know and the sad part is that people always say that this one cheated on me, please don't cheat on me, and all of a sudden they are victims of the same cheating again. So that's why I would hear people saying that I'm talking from experience. That experience sometimes can happen over and over and over again. Your buying experience at Takealot, it can happen over and over and over again. So understanding the individual nature of customers is fundamental to digital marketing practice and planning. Remember, it says individual nature of customers, but how can we understand individual nature of customers when we have got more than 54 million people in South Africa? It becomes tricky, because when you are looking at the textbook and theories, it sounds as if it's easy, but it's not. How can I understand an individual nature of a customer when in a certain location there are more than 20,000 people? Okay, there are many factors which influence online behavior. And over time, the market segments that use the internet and digital services has changed significantly. Therefore, it is important for digital marketers to be aware of important behavior variables and to understand how to model online consumer behavior. So, studies that happened well before AMA 2000 shows that previously online shoppers used to be young males who were generally better educated and wealthier than their contemporaries. They also had both confidence and desire to experiment with the internet, which at that time was the new exciting channel. That was in 1999. But think about now. Right now, the internet is non-discriminatory. You find the unemployed on the internet. You find the rich on the internet. You find the single on the internet. You find the housewives, those who are supposed to be cooking and cleaning, on the internet. While it's at that time in 1999, it was rare, and people could actually be on the internet at work because that's where they got access to computers. Okay. Some brands specifically targeted these types of customers, so they would target these educated, wealthier, men, and developed services to suit their needs. And there are two key areas which can improve very fruitful, which can prove very fruitful when aiming to identify consumer variables. We spoke about these in the previous lesson, which is demographic. So you need to know who you're talking to and look at their variables such as their age, their gender, their race. And to some extent, that's why I asked you guys, how old are you? You know, it wasn't for snooping your age, but I also need to know who I'm addressing. Am I addressing a child or am I addressing someone who is my age or someone who is older than me? So there are variables, the key elements of consumers' demographic profile that have been found to influence online behavior. So if it's AMA 2000, you know, by looking at the age, you can actually see the influence that they have when they engage online compared to a baby boomer, the way they also behave online. Then you also look at psychographic and behavioral variables. Are these people outgoing? What are their beliefs? Do they hang out? So if they hang out a lot, it means that on Fridays you post something online, they won't see it because they'll be busy at Groove, you know. So you look at those psychographic aspects that influence a consumer's perception, belief, attitude that might influence online behavior, and in particular, a customer's intention to buy something. So why does customer experience matter? Why does CX matter? By studying the variables which influence the customer's experience in the digital environment, it becomes possible to analyze their future intentions to continue to use digital services and to shop online. For example, the impact of consumers' personal experiences of convenience, site design, and security might affect their overall satisfaction within a particular site. So we go back to Tyson there. If I remember very well, you mentioned that your past personal experience was that you had a refund that came in batches that took long, right?
Correct.
So that, of course, it will have an influence on your future person. Now you know that, you know what, I want to get the exact stuff so that I don't exchange it because the refund process will give me the same nightmares that I had before. So by investigating variables associated with consumer experiences, digital marketers begin to understand how to increase loyalty and trust through digital platforms and digital services as the digital environment keeps evolving, and it's always evolving, guys. It's always evolving. It's always growing and changing. Further research is being carried out, which gives us an even greater understanding of the online customer experience. So there are also many tools there. There are many digital tools. Google has got its own tools. It has got its own digital analytics. Now they've released that one called G4. You know, that you can use to have a better understanding of how people come to your site, at what time do they visit your site, what content do they engage with on your site, which device are they using from your site. You know, these are the insights that I come across where I'm working. So I can actually tell, for example, if it says 79% of the users are coming to my site, of course, my organization site, from a desktop, already, you know, research will then tell me that if they're accessing this through desktop, it's people who are at work, okay? If they're accessing it through mobiles, people who are at home or who are on their way at home. If they are accessing it on the tablet, it might be people who are cheating and stuff like that. So you've got greater tools that can give you an understanding. Even when people want to renew a magazine subscription, I can actually know that they've got a notification that they can receive to say that it's time to renew your magazine. So that notification, they have to receive it, for example, at the end of the month or mid-month or at the beginning of the month. But the timing of the notification will determine how they earn their income. Otherwise, if you send it when they are broke, chances are that they are not going to renew the subscription. So customer interaction with the brand's digital environment creates opportunities for positive experiences that can lead to long-term building. So this is a long-term marriage, guys. It's not a one-night stand whereby a customer comes to shop, then all of a sudden you are enhancing all these interactions for someone who is not coming back. Here, the objective and the intention is to make sure that you have got a long-term relationship with the customer. Even if the relationship is broken, you can actually have someone who is going to take over, and it becomes a generational relationship. Okay, we have heard that with legacy brands such as Vaseline. You realize that with Vaseline as a brand, maybe it was your grandfather who was using Vaseline, and all of a sudden it was passed to another generation. Your father used it, and now you are using it, and all of a sudden your kids are going to use it, and so on. To an extent that if we ask you what is petroleum jelly, you wouldn't know petroleum jelly, you only know Vaseline. There are people up to date, they don't know toothpaste, they know Colgate. There are people up to date, they don't know washing powder, they know Safe. So you end up knowing the brand name instead of the product itself, because it's something that has been used in family after family. It's just believe in it. It's a long-term relationship that we've had with that brand, and it has been passed from generation to generation. Be it rice, even if you move out, if in your family you were eating speckle, even if you move out, still you are using speckle, and if I were to actually ask you the right reasons why are you using speckle, the reason would be like, oh, it's something that I grew up eating. You wouldn't give me like, oh, speckle is this and this and that. Is it something that you can relate with, guys?
Yes, sir.
Mm. So long-term relationship doesn't end with death of a customer. That's what I'm trying to say, because it can be passed over and over and over and over again within generations. So I told you in the previous lesson about the antecedents. Here are the antecedents, and you are going to use them in your F2. I think they appear a lot in the F2 and as well as F3 when you are doing the individual presentation in Branston. So these antecedents, they of digital experience, consist of an important list of concepts which can positively or negatively influence or motivate the consumer to engage with a digital offer. So when there's a digital offer, be it in form of a website, be it in form of a social media campaign, be it in form of a newsletter or a mobile application, the first thing that would come will be information processing. How do I digest the information that I'm being offered? Because sometimes some of the information that we get, guys, are very complicated and not easy to understand. That's why you see most often our parents would approach us and want help with anything that is digital, like, oh, you the youths, help us. How do I log in here? Because it's difficult to process that information from their side. So it is very important as it shapes how a customer deals with available data and information that will influence their future behavior. So information processing involves the mental process and the senses an individual uses to interpret the world they inhabit. Then there's a perceived ease of use. So here already in your mind, you need to understand how you are going to use something, even if you have never used it before. So if the perceived ease of use is very negative, chances are that you won't even dare, want to buy it. I remember there was something that I wanted online, but I didn't get it because my biggest fear was that I won't be able to operate it. So my perceptions there when it comes to the ease of use, it was actually difficult. That's why I ended up not getting it. That's customer experience. Okay. Then perceived usefulness, how is it going to be useful to me? Will it make any sense? Then what are the perceived benefits? What is the perceived control? Do I even have control, or it has got control over me? What are the skills required in consuming it or in, digesting it? Be it content, be it a product. What about trust and risk? Especially when it comes to my payments online. All of a sudden they're asking for credit card. Have you ever thought who is going to, store this like how are they going to keep my information private and safe. Then, of course, the last one is enjoyment. You ask yourself, was it necessary for me to have this thing? So those are the 8 antecedents that contribute to customer experience. You can never talk about experience without discussing those 8 antecedents. Okay. So how do you use how do the antecedents contribute to experience, and ultimately their consequences as well? It is put in your textbook. I can't remember the page, but you have got the antecedents on the left side there. Then at the center, you've got experience, which comes in 2 forms. So the first one is something that happens in your mind. Like, what is it that you think about those 8 useful antecedents? For example, if you are processing information, what experience are you having in your mind? Then you've got affective experience. This is based on feelings, your feelings towards a site, your feelings towards a product, and so on. So the consequences, it needs to lead to customer certification, as I said in the beginning, but doesn't end there. It also needs to have a repurchase intention, which is customer retention. So you need to come back for more. And experiences, guys, says a lot. Since you guys are old enough, maybe the exercise will be too inappropriate for you guys. But in class, I ask students, like, based on the experience that you have, would you go back to your exes? Based on the experience that you have with them.
A big no.
Your big no is actually related to a student who said, hell no. I won't ask why, but let's hear others. I see Tyson's mic is on.
I won't say a big no or not. It depends. It depends how it ended up. Sometimes, it ends up
Which is the
in a
actual
bad way.
experience, right?
Exactly. It depends on how you guys, but sometimes, yes, sometimes, because we learn through our mistakes. I might be the one who had mistakes before, and then now, because of experience, I've seen that I've made mistakes, and then I can go back to my ex.
Okay, I'll come
Because
back to that. Let's hear Kanye.
I've never,
You would go back.
I have never dated, so it's still
Okay.
I'm
All right. We understand that, but we don't believe you. Do you believe her, guys?
For real, sir, I went to a boarding school, and it was girls' school, so yeah, I didn't have that time.
Okay. Please come back to us when you see someone, okay? Even if it's in 10 years, look for us and tell us.
Okay, well,
All right, guys, this exercise is the same thing with brands. The reason why I ask you guys, because the experience that you're going with a brand, you actually determine whether you're going to say a hell no, a big no, or you say yes. Do you get what I mean? Sometimes we do live in the spirits of forgiveness, in the spirits of maturity, or in the spirits of giving each other a chance, like Tyson say that. But customers barely give brands a chance. That's the problem. And also maturity, to realize that maybe you dated someone when you were both immature, like maybe you're in high school. Now you feel like, oh, that person, I think she's now mature enough that I can go back. So brands also have their own maturity. For example, if iPhone, had bad customer service, I'm saying iPhone, if Apple had bad customer service, then all of a sudden they've reinvented, they've new management, and they've got good uh, uh, customer service. You would still go back even though your previous experience was not so good, right? But of course, I would agree with Tobile because Human beings are always complicated compared to brains. And some will say, let me give them a chance, not knowing that they haven't changed their colors yet. So customer retention, guys, is determined by the experiences that you have with a brand. For you to become a repeat buyer, to go back to that brand, you need to have good experiences. Unless if it is the only brand that provides that product, it becomes difficult in that scenario. For example, they are the only ones who sell salt, and you keep having bad experience, but you can't leave them. I don't know if you have been in that situation, guys. Even in relationships, you actually realize that this person is the only one who treats me well, but at the same time, he has got a bad temper. Then you end up being stuck with them.
Like ESCOM, sir.
Yes, like ESCOM. That is the only power provider. It keeps disappointing, but there's nothing you can do. That's very true, Kanye. I hope guys you understand these examples, right?
Yes, we do.
Then we go to a consumer persona. This one is very tricky, and I need to emphasize a lot because for the past 2 years I've been with Boston, most of the assignments, students fail on understanding a buyer persona. So people think they do know a buyer persona, but they struggle to explain it or to elaborate on it. And there are always many marks on a buyer persona because there are a lot to say there. So first, before I unpack the concept of a buyer persona, I need to tell you that if you hear the term consumer persona, if you hear the term segment profile, and if you hear the term buyer persona, consumer persona, segment profile, and buyer persona, it means one thing, okay? Because sometimes English is not our mother tongue, but it means one thing. So what is a consumer persona? It is a fictional profile that is typically informed by research that represents a particular target audience. So personas are a tool which can help understand online customer characteristics and behavior. So let me put it in Jolo mindset so that you guys can understand well what I'm trying to say here. If you have got an ideal partner in your mind, right? Like this is a person that I would like to have in my life. That person does not exist yet, but you have got attributes to a fictional, like to an ideal person. I always hear people, for example, I'd like to date a Zulu guy who is tall, who is short, who do this, who do that. So that's a persona of an individual that you want to date. The only difference is that with a buyer persona, you need to be informed by research. So research, you don't just say, I want to date a Zulu guy. You need to go and do research and find out what is it that Zulu guy people do. Then if it matches your criteria, you then come to that conclusion that this is the person that I want to date, okay? And it does not end with relationships. Even when you want a car or when you are looking for a job, you already have an ideal description of the type of a job that you are going to have there. So you are creating a persona in your mind of the potential that you are going to get. So brands, whenever they come into existence, they've got their ideal customers, a fictional customer. Like if I'm BMW, this is a kind of a person that I'd like to come and buy a BMW from me. I want someone who resides in Sandton, okay? Research has to tell you why you want that person who resides in Sandton. Maybe people reside in Sandton are closer to the dealerships, they are closer to car parts, it won't be difficult to save them, okay? Or you look at other attributes. I want someone who is not married. I want someone who is employed because they can afford this kind of installment. So to realize that all the brands out there, they do have their persona, they do have the kind of a person that they'd like to target. The same thing with Boston. It does have its own ideal student that it would love to approach. So that's what a buyer persona is all about. Then you start putting attributes. That's how I would see people who buy it Pick and Pay, people buy it Woolies, people buy it ShopRite. You can actually see from those brands that they've got their ideal personas there. ShopRite, for example, it would be most senior citizens, Abomkoko, even the package that they have. You know, you've got a hamper that includes sugar, flour, and meal. While is you won't have Tobile to have those things. You're selling flour to Tobile, she's not going to use it. So your research will tell you that if I target a Gogo, she's going to bake amagwinya and stuff like that. Remember, an ideal persona does not mean that you cannot accommodate other personas. You can be a Gucci, a luxury brand, saying that these are the people that I'm going to target, people who earn 50,000 per month, blah, blah, blah. But remember, there's someone who's unemployed who can win a lotto tomorrow and can still come to buy it you. However, you still have to have that main target audience that you need.
I understand.
Does it
Just
make
like
sense, guys?
Boston. Yeah, it does. Just like Boston. I think their main target is the full-time students. But it doesn't mean that they cannot take part-time like us. But they don't prioritize much on us because their main target is full-time.
So in each and every setup, guys, that's how you have an ideal person. And we all do that. You know, we all do that. And it doesn't mean that you have it as it is planned. Sometimes the market will surprise you, just like Mjolo surprises us. The market is full of surprises. You tell yourself that I'm in an Apple, I've got this product for this specific target. All of a sudden, that target has got nothing to do with what you are marketing. The same thing it happens in Jolo. Say, oh, I want to date a tall person or a woman with curves. All of a sudden, you've got a woman who have got not even a single curve, and you're actually enjoying her, you know? So that can be informed by a market. The market is so unpredictable. It's very uncertain. But you still have to have a plan, especially when it comes to your marketing strategies, because at the end of the day, you still need to communicate with your target audience. So if you do not have an ideal person in your mind, it's going to be difficult to formulate a strategy based on assumption. So creating a persona is a powerful technique for developing customer-centered digital marketing strategies. Brands, presences, and campaigns and forms part of marketplace analysis. As I said, marketplace is very unpredictable and you need to constantly analyze it. So consumer personas have been used for a long time in research for segmentation. That's why I said another word for consumer persona is segmentation, segment prof. But in recent years, they have also proved effective for improving website design by companies that have applied the technique. So realize that there are companies also who would have an ideal persona for the person who is going to engage with their websites. There are some websites, guys, if you go there, you can actually see that, no, this website is not designed for me. It's more designed for young people or for the elderly. All of a sudden, you know, all words are magnified there as if it's for people who are blind, something like that. It is suited for a specific persona. Are there any questions on persona?
Nope.
Or any additions? Any comments?
No, I'm cool.
Okay, so in conclusion, you guys should consider how the discussed antecedents can influence a customer's motivation to engage with the digital offer and also look for opportunities to create competitive advantage by overcoming the barriers. For example, if it's perceived ease of use, or if it is information process, how can we overcome the potential barriers so that we do not lose our customers to competitors? The discussed 8 antecedents can influence how the customer thinks, which is the cognitive, and how the customer feels, which is affective state, about their online experiences, and affect the outcomes of any subsequent behavior. If the customer has a positive experience, this will increase the likelihood of the customer being satisfied, of course, and having a positive repurchase intention. So guys, you need to treat your partners well so that if it ends tomorrow, they come back to you, right?
I guess so.
Okay, it has been proposed that digital marketers need to be aware that it is important not only to develop the functional aspects of digital offer, such as a website, but also to consider how the emotional states and past experiences of the customer can affect a customer's level of engagement. That's it, guys. Let's go to lesson 15 and have an exercise on wish commerce. Okay, like how do we do customer analysis? So everything that you've learned so far, customer analysis and customer experience, how do we apply it on the Wish platform?
My laptop is about to be switched off, so please don't be shocked if I.
You said your network is what?